What is up, Goat Show? Today I'm doing part 2 of my college football predictions. Today we'll be doing the ACC conference. Finishing last in the ACC, I have Virginia Cavaliers. They lost their best player in Brennan Armstrong, so I don't really see much potential for this team. I have them going 3-9. They finished 3-7 last year. I have them winning against James Madison, William and Mary, and then I do have them beating Virginia Tech in the rivalry game at the end of the year, just due to it being a home game. But Virginia doesn't really have much hope this year without Brennan Armstrong, so I got them going 3-9 this year. Next up, we have Boston College. They went 3-9 last year. I do have them improving this year at 5-7. I'm pretty sure last year I had them at 5-7 and they disappointed. But they have an easy out of conference schedule playing Northern Illinois, Holy Cross, and Army, so I have them winning those 3 games. And I do have them beating Virginia as well, and then UConn as well. So their 5 wins aren't really good wins, but they're wins. And I have them losing the rest of the games in the ACC. So I got Boston College going 5-7. Next team up, I got Virginia Tech. They finished 3-8 last year, which was very disappointing. I expected them to make a bowl game last year. I wouldn't be shocked if they made one this year, but I had them finishing at 5-7. I do have them getting 2 good wins against the Big Ten. I have them beating Purdue and Rutgers. I don't know what it is, but I will explain more in my Big Ten predictions with Purdue. And then Rutgers, that's a 50-50 game. I do have them losing a lot of their games from week 4 to week 9, going on a 5-game losing streak. And then I do have them getting an upset win at NC State, but then they overlook Virginia in the rivalry game and lose. So I'm going to go with Virginia Tech going 5-7 this year. And this might be a shock to some people, but I have Pittsburgh going 4-8 despite their 9-4 record last year. They have a pretty tough out-of-conference schedule. I do have them losing this year at West Virginia. And then that Cincy game's like a 50-50 game, but I do have them beating Wofford. They go on to beat UNC and Virginia Tech, so they start out 3-2, have good hope for the season. Then I have them just going on a rough patch, losing 5 games in a row to Louisville, at Wake Forest, at Notre Dame, Florida State, at Syracuse. I do have them picking up a win against Boston College, but then ending the season with a loss at Duke. Comment down below if you think this is a hot take, though, because Pitt, they could be pretty good this year, too. Next up, we have Georgia Tech. This is a team I actually enjoyed watching last year. I enjoyed every single one of their games, especially the one against Clemson where they almost got their upset. But this team, if they had a bad out-of-conference schedule, would be a bowl game team. But they had to play at Ole Miss and Georgia, so they're not going to win any of those. And then I do have them beating South Carolina State in their out-of-conference game. But other than that, this team's like a 50-50 team. You don't really know which one you're going to get. I do have them beating Bowling Green, Boston College, Virginia, and Syracuse. Syracuse is going to be their upset win of the year. Syracuse isn't going to be as good, but it's still an upset win in my opinion. I do have them losing to Louisville, Ole Miss, Georgia, Wake Forest, Miami, UNC, and at Clemson. If they didn't have such a difficult schedule, I could see this team making a bowl game, but their schedule is way too difficult for them to be making a bowl game this year. Next up is a team who disappointed me last year. I thought they were going to be so much better with Van Dyke at QB, but man, was I wrong. We got Miami Hurricanes. I have them going 2-1 in their out-of-conference schedule, losing to Texas A&M. I do have them starting off the season 4-1, and then they go on to lose to North Carolina and Clemson. They do beat Virginia, but losing 3 of the last 4 games, losing to NC State, Florida State, and Louisville. But in Week 12, they get that win to go 6-6 and make a bowl game this year against Boston College. This also might come as a shock to people, but I have Wake Forest going 6-6. They lost their quarterback, Sam Hartman. I feel like this is going to hurt them a lot more than people expect. They went 8-5 last year, and I feel like they're just going to be worse this year without Hartman. I'd rather them starting out the season 4-0, but losing at Clemson, and then they end up losing their last 5 games. Florida State, Duke, NC State, Notre Dame, and Syracuse. They're still a bowl team, but losing Hartman was just, in my opinion, a killer for him. So I don't think they're going to be able to step up when it matters most. So I got Wake Forest going 6-6. Next team up is a team I also think could be better than what I've given them. Last year they finished 9-4, but this year I have Duke going 7-5. I feel like they could upset a lot of teams this year, and I want to be shocked if they do. I do have them losing Week 1 against Clemson. I honestly could see them winning against Clemson, that Week 1 game. But just because Clemson's just a better team, I'm going to go with Clemson that one. I have them going 3-0 in the out-of-conference schedule, beating Lafayette, Northwestern, and UConn. I do have them losing to Notre Dame. That's a potential upset game for them as they play at home in that game. And they also have them losing against Florida State and NC State. I do have them winning 4 of their last 5. They beat Louisville, Wake Forest, Virginia, and Pitt, but they do lose at North Carolina against their rival. But all in all, Duke's a pretty solid team this year, and I got them going 7-5. Next up is a team who started out fire hot last year, but ended up going 7-6. I do have them being around the same record, going 7-5 this year. I have them going 2-1 in their out-of-conference schedule, losing to Purdue. But then they beat Army, and then they go on a 3-game losing streak, losing to Clemson, North Carolina, and Florida State. I do have them winning 4 of the last 5, though, beating Virginia Tech, Boston College, Pitt, and Wake Forest, but they do lose Week 11 at Georgia Tech. That's just a game they end up losing. But I got Syracuse going 7-5 and making a bowl game once again this year. North Carolina fans are not going to like this one. I have them going 8-4 this year. I do feel like the ACC got better, and North Carolina didn't get much better. I mean, I still feel like Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. By them starting off this season with a loss against South Carolina. And then I do have them beating Appalachian State in Minnesota. But I feel like at Pitt, it's going to be a trap game. I know Pitt's not going to be that good this year, but I just don't feel like you guys are going to be ready for that one. I do have you guys going on a huge win streak, beating Syracuse, Miami, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Campbell, and Duke. But when it matters the most, I don't have Drake May being able to get it done. I have you losing at Clemson, and I have you losing at NC State in your rivalry game. So I have you guys finishing 8-4 overall. Finishing 4th, I got Louisville. Last year they went 8-5, and I feel like they're going to be finishing as the same record. So I have them going 8-4 this year. I have them starting out the season blazing hot, winning their first 4 games, going 4-0. But then I have them dropping 2 games at NC State and against Notre Dame. I do have them beating Pitt, but I feel like they will lose at home to Duke. That's the game I think Duke will just be able to take. And then I have them winning 3 of the last 4, beating Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Miami, but losing in the rivalry game against Kentucky. Louisville, I don't think they're going to be as good as the record says. I feel like their schedule is pretty easy in my eyes. I do have them getting a good win at Indiana, though, for the out-of-conference schedule, depending on how good Indiana is this year. But all in all, I do think Louisville will not be as good as the record says. Finishing 3rd, I got NC State Wolfpack. Last year they finished 8-5, and this year I think they're going to finish 9-3. They did get transfer Brandon Armstrong from Virginia, who I think is a very solid quarterback. I do have them losing to Notre Dame, Clemson, and Virginia Tech this year. But other than that, I have them clean sweeping their schedule. I have them beating UConn, Virginia, Louisville, Marshall, Duke, Miami, Wake Forest, and winning their rivalry game against UNC. I really don't think this schedule is as tough. So I feel like they're kind of be on Louisville's level. I feel like they're going to be an overrated team in this season just because how easy their schedule is. But all in all, I do think they're a solid team. I feel like they're an 8-4 team with a good schedule, but 9-3 with this one. So I'm going to go with the Wolfpack going 9-3 and finishing 3rd in the ACC this year. Finishing 2nd is a team I have said that's been back for a while now. Last year I had them doing really good. This year I feel like they really will. Last year they went 10-3. I don't feel like that's terrible. But this year I got them going 11-1. And I have them beating LSU week 1. I feel like that's a hot take because a lot of people think LSU is going to beat them. But all in all, I think Florida State's just a better team than LSU. So I got them going 3-0. And then the big game at Clemson, I'm going Clemson in this one. Just because it's early in the season. I feel like if they play later in the season, I'd pick Florida State. But since it's early in the season at Clemson, I got to go with Clemson in this one. But then I have them winning the rest of their games, going 11-1. And Jordan Travis has a breakout year for Florida State. I wouldn't be shocked if this team made the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up beating Clemson and going 12-0. But for now, I got them going 11-1 with a loss to Clemson. That being said, with a record of 12-0, I got Clemson. Clemson's defense is what I think will push them throughout the year. I do feel like they got an upgrade at QB with Cade Klubnik. I feel like he's a much better upgrade than DJ Ulogi. But Clemson goes 12-0 this year, carried by the defense, and then leader on offense, Cade Klubnik. I do think Will Shipley is also a very solid running back. I feel like the wide receiving core could use a bit better receivers, but I feel like that won't bother Klubnik as much. But in the ACC Championship, I have Clemson versus Florida State. and I have Florida State winning that game. So I got Florida State winning 27-24 in the ACC Championship. So they both finished with a record of 12-1, but Florida State is going to be your ACC champions this year. Now let me go recap the standings. Number 14, I got Virginia, 13, Boston College, 12, Virginia Tech, 11, Pitt, 10, Georgia Tech, who I think can be better, 9, Miami, who I wouldn't be shocked if had a good season or just a terrible season. Number 8, Wake Forest. Number 7, Syracuse. Number 6, Duke. Number 5, North Carolina. Sorry, North Carolina fans. Number 4, Louisville. Number 3, NC State. Number 2, Florida State. And number 1, Clemson. But that's obviously going to switch because Florida State beat them. So that's my ACC predictions. Comment down below who you have winning and who you have making the ACC Championship. Comment down the sleeper team. Comment down the overrated team. Comment down the underrated team. But until next time, my next predictions will be the Pac-12, and I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching.